Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Nigel?
I'm very well. I'm very well. Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
My name is Nazar. Might be a
Nazar.
bit difficult to pronounce, but
No,
Nazar.
I'm gonna try and spell it. Nazar.
There you go. Got it.
There you go. See, I've got it. Yeah, see, I've got it. I've got it.
Confirmed.
Where you
There you
from,
go.
sir?
I'm a mix, half, mix
Okay.
of Iraqi and Ukrainian. Yeah,
Interesting.
that's a very exotic mix. You don't see every day.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of that. I don't think I've ever heard of that mix before. So, how did that come about? Dad met mum in Ukraine?
Dad met mom in Belgium, which is
Okay.
yeah. The story keeps getting more exotic
It
as
goes
it
deep.
goes on.
It
And
goes deep.
we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We're still halfway there. So
Okay.
they met in Belgium. Like my mom left Ukraine at some point to study, and
Yeah.
then my dad also had like some sort of vacation trip to Belgium. That's where they met coincidentally, and then that's where they kicked things off.
Did he move there, or did he move her to where
Yes,
he?
like they had some back and forth. He moved back, he came back, then he proposed. I think
Yeah.
around like in Belgium, they lived there for a few years, got the nationality, and then my dad found a business opportunity in Lebanon, and basically that's where I was born. Yeah, that's where I was born and raised. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's only getting.
So where are you now?
I am back in Belgium, so I lived in
Okay.
Lebanon. Like I was
Yeah.
born and raised there for about what 18, 20 years. I lived there, and once
Mm.
this whole pandemic started to happen, all the like the war things, the currency inflating, these whole problems caused us to move back, at least like to Belgium, and now I'm here for the last 4 years.
Cool. So that's family home that you're in at the moment.
Yeah, as in no, that's actually we didn't have anything when we moved here. We were like everything was let go
Yeah.
back in the day, so we had a fresh new start when we moved here. So that's like my
Okay.
own apartment kind of place.
Oh, this is your own. Excuse me.
Yes,
This is your own apartment.
yes, correct.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So tell me a little bit. I know that bit about yourself,
Yeah,
but tell me a little bit more about yourself with regards to joining the real world, how old you
right,
are, how long you've been in the real world, etc. So,
exactly. All right, for sure. So I am currently 23 years old. I Yeah, as so like to sort of branch off of the last story, it was like I moved to Belgium for university. I
yeah,
studied as an engineer, did that for 4 years, graduated last year, and have been, like I say, 1 year into university, I decided to join the real world. I can go into that story, of course, in more detail. But joined the real world since then, realized that university was not the right move at 1 year in, and yeah, I joined the copywriting campus as soon as I started, and have been in it since then,
ever since then. Okay,
doing
cool. Yeah.
strategic marketing basically.
So, sorry, you joined 1 year ago. Did you say? Sorry,
I joined 4 years ago,
4 years
2022.
ago.
Yes, it
Okay,
was 1 year into my university year.
it was one. That's it. 1 year into
Yeah, very.
university. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, what made you make the transition or think about the transition from university to joining the real world?
It's actually a couple of factors that caused that. So when I was at that age, which was around 18, 19, like you always want to buy stuff and then you
Yeah.
can't really afford them.
Okay, that's fair.
So I had that cycle where I would find something I want. I ask my parents for it. They tell me, yeah, we can't afford it. I'm like, okay, I need to figure this out myself. I go to
Mm.
YouTube. I search up how to make money online, watch the first few videos, and then just not take action. And that will repeat like
Yeah,
once, twice, 3 times,
yeah,
wanting more stuff. And then that's when I like saw Tate on my feed. The intent was already high on my end. Like I was looking for ways to make money.
yeah,
I see
yeah.
the ad for the real world. I'm like, it's $50. Let me try it out. Fuck it. And then I went in. And that's how it
Okay.
started. Yeah.
So how's it been since you've joined? So did you go you said you went straight into the copywriting campus.
Correct.
Did you fully go in, or was there a little bit of in, out, reading, kind of understanding?
So what happened was I joined back when it was still Hustlers University,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
back then there was this little quiz you could take where they
Hmm.
would recommend a certain campus.
Hmm.
And at that time, I believe the Copywriting Campus was the only campus you could join if you had no capital to invest.
Hmm.
So based on that, I made my decision and joined. And I have this little, I don't know if you'd call it like a inner trait, but when I join something, I could be so stubborn that I would never change. It's because I started it. Until I get something out of it, I'm not leaving it.
Yeah. No, but that's a good thing. That's
Yeah,
an
it
absolutely good thing.
helped.
I
It
love that.
helped.
I love that. So then, what was the progression on from there? So you joined,
Yeah.
and then how did that develop?
So I joined and like I obviously followed the lessons, but I
Hmm.
must admit that in the beginning, my discipline was, of course, not where it's supposed to be. Like, obviously, when you start, you have these bad habits that you always have to deal with, that they keep coming back and they keep like drifting you off. All that stuff was happening, let's say, first year or two as I was in. So that looks like me watching a lesson one day, applying it the other day, and then falling back to a habit the third day, drifting off, and then that repeats,
Repeat.
which basically means no consistency and no results the first few years. I was, like just learned the skill, watched a couple of videos, started to outreach, didn't land any clients, and I thought
Drop.
I was doing work. Yeah, basically just doing that, but it wasn't consistent. So
Okay,
that's
so
that's what I yeah,
what was stopping you from doing? What was stopping you from being consistent in the first place?
right.
I know you said a little bit of discipline, but was
Yes,
there anything else
discipline.
outside factors?
I would say one very, let's say, impacting factor was my friends at university, because back then everyone had the concept of you'll only live once, don't work so hard.
Party.
Yeah, exactly. Like try go party, like join us, and don't miss out. You're still young. Don't work so hard. You heard these stuff. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking.
yeah, yeah.
And back then, like I wasn't yet, let's say, that disciplined to say no to them. I actually followed their mentality. They tricked me into saying yes, as in I believed them. So I did go out, I did do what they were doing, and that's what led me to drift off. I was like, no, maybe I am working too much. Maybe this is not what I'm supposed to do. And I kept jumping back and forth. Like also you can think of video games as being one of the things I jump back
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
partying, wasting time, scrolling, that type of stuff.
The thing is, you just brought me back to my university. You brought me back to my university days when I was at university.
Yeah.
But I think I was slightly a little bit different because I lived with my father
Hmm.
and I was doing graphic design at university.
Interesting. Oh wow. Okay.
So I really enjoyed it, but I didn't really. Okay, I went out. Yes, I did. Okay, for the first, let's just put it on the table here. Yes, I did go out. When I was because I went to college first of all, still studying graphic design, and I went to university thereafter. But as soon as I found like, so my friend owned a club in London because I was working in
Mhm.
the UK. So
Right.
he owned a club in London, but he wanted to do like promotional material
All right.
for his clubs to advertise it locally because he wanted to just obviously earn money and everything else like that. So my one of my close friends introduced me to him, and
Mhm.
then we must have went out a couple of times, and then he goes like, "Do you want to do some flyers?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." Do you know what I
Sure.
mean? And from that point onwards, I can honestly say, like, yes, I was partying a little bit, but
Right.
I was partying at the clubs that I was promoting. So I was having
Oh,
a little bit of both.
yeah, you had a right balance.
Yeah,
That's
do you
good.
know what I mean? You work and you play at the same time.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
I remember spending hours and hours designing flyers with his friend standing over me, just
Yeah.
designing flyers on one of these old computers that was super slow. Right now, I could do it probably in about an hour. But then it was taking me ages because computers weren't what they were. I'm not gonna say how old I am, but computers weren't what they were,
Right.
and they were super slow. and it will take ages. You push a button and you're like sitting there waiting. Let me go make some breakfast. Let me go make a cup of tea. And you go back and you wait, and then you come back and you can make some food. You can go for a walk down the road, half an hour. And anyway,
But you still had the discipline to like keep doing it, although it was not easy.
yeah, no, but the thing is, I think when I look back now, it's like I was super focused on making sure that the flyers were right, and I was like, it was fun as well as work.
Right.
So whenever someone said, "Yeah, let's go out," no, I've got this flyer to finish off. Do you know what I mean? I'll come out
Yeah.
maybe tomorrow or the day after. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? But then I ended up going to the same club nights that I was promoting because I'd done the flyers, I'd done the point of sale material, I'd done I helped with the interior decor, and I also done the posters. But with the posters, I was out postering because back then when you could just go and stick up a poster, boom, on the
Yeah.
wall and just poster it and poster over people and stuff like that. So we
Right.
was up late at night postering after I'd done the main
Yeah.
design, and then we printed them and we get them, stack them in my car, drive around to all of the nightclubs, hand out flyers as well as handing out flyers in
Right.
between because the clubs close at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So we'd have to wait till 2-3 o'clock in the morning, but we'd be out from about 11 o'clock, and we'd be driving around. We'd be driving because I lived in an area called Luton.
Yeah.
So we'd drive 30 minutes up the road, then 20 minutes across, then down all the way down, which is about 45 minutes down to Hemel Hempstead, making sure that we'd covered all of these places and then go back to different clubs based around the area that we was there. So to be fair, I was mad crazy busy, but like I still had that kind of thing where I wanted to kind of make a little bit of money then. So I kind of you just brought it back, and I was like thinking, I actually
Nice.
did
I'm
do all
glad.
right. I actually did do all right. Anyway,
Yes.
enough about me. Getting back onto you. So
Yeah.
you
But great
joined.
story though. Sorry to interrupt you, but great story. Like that was the inflection point, and it reminds me of my story as well. Like the same way
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
trying to find a
So
way to make money but still like live life and all that stuff.
trying to live life, yeah, trying to do the both.
Exactly.
So you pitted around for 2 years. What tipped you over the edge to actually say, okay, cool, I've got to really take this seriously, and I've already got to go into it?
Right. So two things that caused this. Like one was, you remember how I said back then that what made me join was the whole idea of me wanting to buy things and that I
Mm,
couldn't afford.
mm,
That was what made me join. But what's interesting is as time passed, that purpose started to shift to something completely different.
mm,
And what happened was around the 2 year mark, I started to like I lived with my like as in no, I didn't live with my mother, but as in the person I see the most day to day for my family, the closest is my mother.
mhm,
What happened was I started to notice one important aspect is the fact that her time is running out, right?
mhm,
Like she's getting older, all that stuff. And then what I think one day it just hit me. I was like, if I'm not gonna make this happen, like bring wealth to the family, no one will.
mm,
And that links back to me picturing this nightmare vision of my mother just passing away before I can ever just provide her with that luxury lifestyle that I dream about.
mm.
So I
Nice.
went from wanting to buy stuff to shifting to, okay, I need to work to be able to give my mom that type of lifestyle.
Love that.
That's what happened around the 2 year mark. And exactly at that point was when Professor Andrew, the copywriting professor, pushed out this outreach method, which was called local and warm outreach, which is
Mhm,
basically utilizing your local network and your warm network to land clients.
mhm.
So with that drive from the purpose, I used all that fuel into that new outreach method and got myself my first client, which was
Awesome.
through just a friend of mine in university. I just asked him like, "Hey, do you know anyone that has a business that would need some help and everything?" He was like, "Yeah, I have a cousin of mine. He has a car detailing business. Here's
Awesome.
his email." Reached out, got on the call, and landed him on my first deal.
Awesome. Awesome. How did that make you feel?
Amazing. I mean, like, after 2 years of
After
just
2 years, that's what I'm saying. After 2 years of like procrastinating, oh my god, now I've got a client. Hold on a second, what's going on? Yeah,
yeah,
go on,
like,
sorry.
the accountability is there, and you're like, wait, this actually works if you try.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
what's crazy is that these 2 years, I thought I was trying. You have that thing that, okay, I am
yeah,
putting in
yeah,
time, I'm working hard, as you call it, but then you realize at some point, once you get the results, like 2 years passed by, and I could have done that in like 2 days, and I just
yeah,
realized it's
yeah,
crazy, but amazing feeling to know, like you learn, you go through experiences, and then you get the results once you put in the work.
yeah, yeah. Was that a paid client or was that did
It started off as not a paid client, so it was just kind of a student approach where you offer to work for free in the beginning, and then if you get them results later on, you could link that to them paying you. But you start off just getting the experience for free. So
okay?
that's
And
how it
then
first.
how did that develop as your first client? Did he eventually pay you, or did you have to get another client to actually be paid?
Right. So what happened was, with that first client, I made the mistake of choosing the wrong project. So that was one roadblock I had to experience. I made a mistake, as in I chose a project for him that was not necessarily going to get him results immediately. And
Mm,
what that means is, so let me like give you the context. We talked, and then I was like, okay, so your next step to grow is having like a website. So I pitched him on just a pure website build. I built that for him. It took me around a month of work, I think, because I built the whole entire website, launched it for him, and like a week in or week two, you don't really see much results from just a pure website. You need to build something in addition to that to start
yeah,
seeing some money in. Like, just a website like that doesn't do much short term. Because of that, when I asked him for money after building the website, I pitched him on like maybe like 1.6K, which is now like a very small amount, but back then it was huge.
yeah.
I pitched him 1.6K, and he was like, yeah, no, I can't afford it, because he didn't see the return on investment. He didn't make any money from my work.
So
He
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, okay, I'll pay you only 200 euros. And that's all that happened. I got that 200 euros, and we sort of shook hands from there. And
And
then I
went
went
so
off to learn more clients, basically.
okay, cool. So then, how did you develop onto your next client? How many clients do you have at the moment?
Currently 4.
Cool. So how did you get your next one after that? What was the process that you went through to get the
Yeah.
next one?
Honestly, similar approach. It was also using like warm and local outreach, just because that worked. Decided to just continue messaging people I knew. I messaged businesses in the area, told them like, yeah, hey, I'm a student in this university, which is in the same area, and I have a project to work on. Do you mind if we like I share some ideas? And that's where things went off. And that's
Okay.
actually one of my current clients, which I landed, was a like a massage business in the area that I now work with. So
Free massages, maybe as well.
I
Yeah, yeah.
guess
Got little benefits in there.
maybe. Yeah, there you go. And
Um,
yeah,
that
go
was
ahead.
your sorry. That was your first paid, proper first paid client.
Yes, yes, correct. Yeah,
And then everything that you learned from, because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and
exactly.
if you're going along a journey, mistakes are going to be made. Let's just not.
Right.
Let's just put it out there. So then that was your first paid client,
Yes,
um, and then what did they pay you? And you still have them now, yes?
correct. I still have them now, and what's nice to say is they are my lowest tier clients. So I'm actually close to thinking of dropping them, because my other clients are much higher level. But before I get to that, it was a paid deal. It was a revenue share deal. So I was just saying, okay, I'm gonna launch a funnel for you, like a Google Ads funnel, and from all the revenue that you make from the funnel I set up, I'll get a percentage. That was basically the deal from the start.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
And then what kind of percentage are you making? Because you're on a they've been with you for a while. So what kind of monthly retainer are they on at the moment?
yeah. So that's the thing why I say I'm planning to drop them, just because they don't make that much. As in,
Sure.
she's a one person business, so she
Hmm.
makes around, let's say, 2 to 7K per month,
Hmm.
which ends up with me making around 200 to 700 per month, which
Okay.
in the grand scheme of things, and at the time I'm putting in, is quite low. Like,
Yeah.
it's basically no money.
Hmm.
But again, I have to just point this out that I'm super grateful to be at this position. Like back then, if I used to think of having this opportunity, I would go for it, like even for free. But
Yeah,
now, yeah, like it's
yeah,
been
we need to do business.
great.
And then
Yeah.
the next client from there after that. How
The
did you
next
develop?
client, yeah. So the next client were landed in a quite unique way. I actually partnered up with a couple of G's in the real world that were like on a, let's say, on a further point of a further milestone than I was.
Mhm.
I just was able to prove myself with my web development skills. I had those skills in my arsenal. I proved myself, joined their team, and then the clients that they landed were basically the clients that I worked with.
Okay,
That's
cool.
where things went down.
And are they on monthly retainers as well?
They are also some were on monthly retainers, which we're not working with anymore. But currently, the ones that we're working with are also rev share deals, same as my massage client. Yeah,
Okay, cool, fair.
there we go.
And on average, what are you kind of making on a monthly basis?
So I calculated this recently. On average, I would say around 1 to 2K currently, if you average it out.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Yeah,
and then so over the period of time since you started till this point, it's probably around about 24, 30K, maybe more. Is that
around that. As in,
40?
like it went up. Like in the beginning, it was quite low. It started to go up a bit. So like the math doesn't really make sense. As in, like I didn't start with making 1 to 2K.
Mm,
That's quite recent. But since I joined, I made about $16,000 so far.
okay, that's
Yeah,
cool. And then you're looking to obviously develop the business further.
100%.
Okay, cool. Before we go into that bit, what did you find was the hardest bit that you had to like? Obviously, I know from the first part, from the first 2 years, I know about that. That was just the kind of like your kind of motivation, discipline, should I say?
Yeah.
Motivation. Ugh, throw that word away. Never use that
What's
again.
next?
Was your discipline, but then once you started to kind of see results and see like what you could do,
Right.
what was the stumbling blocks maybe that you came across was like things that you came across that you thought, oh my god.
But I get your question. Like the roadblocks I faced on my journey, like as in the first few
Mm,
clients. Yeah, it's a good question. You know, one thing, and this ties back to I thought about this one question that you might potentially ask me is like what advice I'd give myself, and that ties back to it.
mm,
One mistake that or like one roadblock that I faced was basically not analyzing my performance.
right.
So what I did was I had this work to do, and I just basically zoned out, tunnel vision, just did that work
Mm,
without ever just zooming out and saying, okay, is the output I'm making, is it
mm,
linked to my goals or am I just doing work to do work?
mm,
And I think that was one of the biggest roadblocks that made me just move so slow was
mm,
I just took on work that was not linked to my desired outcomes. So I
mm.
just kept doing whatever I could do and then never really noticing that okay, I'm not really making any progress. And that's
Yeah.
what I think is like the biggest hurdle I had to overcome was just to sit down, have a blocked out day where I just say, okay, just review what you did last week,
Hmm.
compare it to what you actually are supposed to achieve, and
Yeah.
then make changes accordingly. And that's
Yeah.
something that
Perfect.
I never used to do because I thought, okay, I'm working, I have time blocked off for my work, that means I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was not really the case.
But that's the learning curve, really, to be fair,
Yes,
because you're learning yourself. So that's
correct.
the learning curve. I mean, obviously, you've still got the G's in the real world to help you,
Yeah,
and you've got everybody else helping you. But
right.
sometimes it's like really kind of analyzing self, taking accountability, self,
Yeah,
and thinking, okay, cool, what could I do better? What am I doing now? What could I do better?
right.
And that's what you've done. So as long as you kind of realize that
Yeah,
and you adjust it accordingly, that's absolutely fine. I mean, you're living in an apartment by yourself now. Sorry, just
correct.
to off topic a little bit, but
Yeah.
you live in an apartment by yourself now. So was that something that you kind of thought, okay, cool. Now I'm earning a little bit more money. Now I can get my own apartment. I mean, how did you kind of, obviously you're seeing a income for yourself now.
Right.
So it's not like what did you do to kind of celebrate? But it's how did you kind of think, okay, cool, now I'm earning some money. Now I can do X or I can do Y.
Right. So how did I celebrate this income that I started to make? Correct? Like
Yeah,
how that's the way I
yeah,
started it.
yeah.
Yeah. So before I used to make that income, I remember even this being a state of mind that I kept repeating. And it's like a very small thing, it's very tiny, but I used to love to go to like coffee shops and work. And one thing I could not do, like at least that would stop me, was me thinking if I can actually afford the coffee, looking at my monthly income.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool, fair.
Like
That's
it's like
fair.
you want to go somewhere, you're like, wait, can I actually afford this? If I go like once or twice a week, is it in my budget? And then what hurts the most is when you have to say no.
Mm,
It's like, wait, I can't even afford a coffee, which is
yeah,
crazy to think. And then
yeah.
like that little increment, like that win happened was when I started to make my own income, and now that thought never crosses my mind anymore. Now, like if I want to go somewhere and
You pick up your
the
laptop and you got, yeah,
yeah, there you go. And I'm like, okay, I want to go to a coffee shop, close the
yeah.
laptop, and just leave the house. I don't even think about that, and that also links to like, all other stuff. Like just go, like if I want to have some sort of adventure with some G's, meet up with people, go to some sort of dinner with I don't know a partner of mine or something like that, then
Mm.
I don't think about it twice at this
You
point.
you just do
That's
it,
like
yeah. It's
yeah,
giving you that little bit of freedom to just kind of do
exactly.
the things that you wanted to do anyway. Okay,
Exactly.
cool. So then along the lines, so since you started making like a little bit of money or
Yeah,
recurring money,
right.
what would you say was your biggest win or your biggest realization? And that could be, it could be a number of things that's dotted in my mind from talking to you,
Yes.
but it could be anything personal, it could be anything financial, it could be
Mhm.
anything family oriented. So what would you say was your biggest win?
You mind if I list out more than one, if that helps?
You go for it.
Go. All right, because I can think of multiple, and
Yeah.
they're just different fronts of my life, and that's why I don't really prioritize them as what's the highest. Like each of them has their own separate.
Has their own, yeah, that's fine. That's
There
absolutely
you go.
fine.
Financial, I think like my biggest win was just being able to hit like a 2K invoice, and
Mm,
being able to just send someone an invoice for more than 2K and actually landing it. That was
mm,
like a big, let's say, milestone that I was able to hit. That was a number that was crazy to me back then when I started. So that's the financial one. Based on that money, I bought myself something that I was dreaming about for like let's say four
You wanted to, I
years.
was gonna say something. You wanted to buy something. I want to buy stuff. I want to buy
There you
stuff.
go.
So go on,
The,
go
the
on.
thing that I've been dreaming about buying was actually a MacBook Pro.
Okay.
And what's nice about it is that I'm talking to you from a MacBook
On
Pro.
the MacBook Pro. I'm on the MacBook Pro myself.
Yes, sir. What an upgrade, right? Like from what we
Yeah,
had before, that's insane.
100%.
So being able to just say that, okay, I made the money and I bought myself a MacBook is
Yeah.
already like I'm just like excited by just that thought, knowing that I was able to make that money by myself without having to ask none of my parents, no help, no nothing, made the money out of thin air, we'd say it, and
Yeah.
bought it myself. So that's like one of the purchases I'm really like proud of that I was able to achieve.
Hmm.
And the third front, like, and that links back to my purpose, like the whole give back to my mother and stuff. The biggest wins I've had on that was being able to take my mom on trips.
Lovely.
So I think that was last summer. I took my mom on two trips. I was able to do that based on the income I was able to make. Took my mom to Rome for like a weekend, and
Nice.
then later down in summer I took her to Venice on like a romantic experience Venice type of trip.
On those boat things, the
Yeah,
gondola.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
The boat, the
I
bridges,
singing. Yeah, no,
and
I went to Rome. I went to Rome myself,
yeah,
and it was a very good experience. Well, I just went sightseeing. I just wanted to see
right.
all of the auditorium thing. I wanted to see the the chapel, the Sistine Chapel, all of
Yeah,
those little bits and pieces that everybody talks about. So I went there. I just went
right.
on and so
Enjoyed it?
yeah, it was good. It was good. It's
Okay.
good. Would I go back? Not sure
Are
because
you? Would you say you're a sightseeing person? Like, would you like sightseeing, or is not really why you travel?
I do like sightseeing. I like to explore. I think it's
Mm,
me. I like to explore. I like to go somewhere where I can walk freely and just roam freely and
nice.
just explore places and just look at places, look at the things that I want to look at. Because it's and landmarks and stuff like that that everybody talks about. Is I just feel that it's important to go and see it so you can experience. Like what surprised me is the level of quality within Rome. Like when you walk into there was a church and I can't remember what the church was called, but when you walk into the church, everything looks like it was painted yesterday, painted same day.
Oh
Like
yeah,
the
true.
ceilings, the walls, the painting, everything is kept in such pristine, absolutely pristine condition. The colors are vibrant.
Right.
Um, the place is clean, and it's I don't know. I just enjoyed seeing that and stuff
It's
as well.
true. No, it's completely true. And I remember those churches, and it's exactly how you described it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They take care of it. It's
They
insane
do.
how much
They do.
like, money and
Care.
like also like,
Yeah.
attention they put into that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
So what I wanted to ask is, how's the because obviously you've been in the TRW 4 years,
4 years.
2 years that was we're gonna forget about.
Yeah.
How's the TRW helped you? Because I mean, you said you've met up with a lot of G's and stuff like that. So
Correct.
how's it helped you to progress to the point where you are now?
So good question. Super good question. I mentioned this in the intro video that I sent, and
Mm,
I want to like mention it back. Is the real world has helped me turn from a boy to a man.
mm,
If I were to compare myself back before I joined, like just thinking back to the bad habits I had, it's insane how much of a shift I've had, and people just don't recognize me anymore. Like if I showed you a picture of myself 4 years ago, I had long hair and I was skinny, like crazy skinny. And the things I have learned, like the discipline, the work ethic, the taking care of your health, you know how the whole phrase of your body, like what do they say? A healthy body is a healthy mind.
Mine are 100%. I truly
There you
believe in
go. That's a huge factor to like my successes. Like I would say I would have never gotten this far if it wasn't for me one day deciding, okay, I need to take care of my health. I need to go train. I need to watch for my nutrition, all that stuff. And I link that back to the lessons that I learned from the professors in the real world, just mentioning, okay, take care of your health. You can't be a basement dweller that just sits on their laptop the whole day and doesn't like move.
it. Yeah.
And, also, like of course, the fitness campus, Professor Alex.
Alex, yeah, yeah. Alex is just over there somewhere.
Gotta send him a thank you message because like what
Yeah,
he teaches is
100%.
super useful. Like to the progress I have made, it's insane. But like yeah, health wise, that's been a huge impact from the real world. And that linked back to, of course, the business side of things, which you already know about.
Mm, mm.
And overall discipline, work ethic, I think I already mentioned that. And
Yeah, yeah.
one thing that I'd like to attribute to Luke, which is like a very important lesson I learned from him, was the act of professionalism in every single area of your life.
Yeah.
I think that was something that was a huge shift that I learned because what I thought was okay, if I have like business and then I have relationships and other stuff listed out, since business is my main priority, let's say, I can just like half-ass everything else and then just work on business fully.
Mm.
But then you slowly realize that the way you act on your other areas impacts the business
Every
one. You start to act the same way.
100%. You take everything as you take everything kind of professional. Like you kind of dedicate and you apply the same discipline into everything that you actually do. So it actually does actually help life. So
Correct.
like I'm a gym guy. So whatever I do in the gym, like kind of reflects on the amount of work that I do, the quality of work that I do, like
Right.
not cutting any corners or anything else like that. In relationships, exactly the same thing. You don't cut any corners. You're upfront. You tell it like it is. You like this. You like that. That's it.
That's it.
Do you know what I
Take
mean?
it or
So
leave it.
100%, 100%. So what does your business look like in the next 6 months? Talk to me about that. So
Yeah,
what plan have you got for the next 6 months for your
take
business?
6 months. So you know how I have like currently 4 clients of mine?
Hmm.
2 of them are super solid clients that I would like to keep. So I see
Hmm.
them still being there for the next, like, let's say 3 to 6 months. They're
Yeah.
worthy clients, their margins are good, and they have good like possibilities for scaling. As in, like,
Hmm.
if I keep working with them, it's only gonna go up from there. So
Hmm.
that's that. I plan to just keep nurturing that relationship, keep growing that partnership, and just making more money out of it. That's those two. The other two are, I would put them in the lower tier bracket, as in I have realized that their margins are not that well, and their overall scale capabilities are not that well. So my plan, let's say, is to drop them, focus on outreach, put more time into that, and just land better clients,
Mm.
to then end up at a point where I'm not making 1 to 2K per month, but and like 5 to 6K. That's like the
Yeah.
goal. To like hit 5K per month will be like the next target within like the next 6 months, let's say.
Is there not any way that you could uplift the clients, that the two bottom tier clients? Is there not any way that there's a uplift on those because they've
Yeah,
been quite consistent with you?
correct.
Or is there not any way that you could think, okay, cool, look at their business model and think, okay, cool, you might need to hire somebody else, or do a plan for them that they get so many clients in that they have to hire somebody else. So
Yeah,
therefore their margin automatically goes up and then their
right.
business. Is there not any way that you could do that for them?
It's a like a super good point you mentioned. Like, it shows that you know what you're talking about. And that's like, that's my next step on the list, is like on my, let's say, task list, is to ask particularly whether there is something I can do with these clients before actually deciding to drop them, because I haven't yet, and I'm still on the fence. I'm
Mm,
taking more of your angle. I'm thinking, okay, although they're not in a good position now, I
mm,
have the skill to grow them to where I could make a lot of money out of them, right? Like, as you said, look at their business model, see where I can like attack and build something that could help them, like, to scale all that and hire new people. I do see that as an angle, but I keep jumping back and forth on whether the time investment is worth it with that client, or am I better off landing another client that with that same time I could make maybe 10x the money, you know?
mm. I
So
mean, you could potentially do both because you've already got their business model, because you've already
yes,
worked it. For me, it might not be. You can quote me on this, but it might not be that hard to. Okay, cool. Where's this business missing out? Why is it not growing to the way that they would want it to grow? Why are they
mhm,
not hiring anybody else? Why are they not doing that? Ask those questions to yourself, look at their business model and think, okay, cool. Well, we're missing out on here. They're missing out on here. They're missing out on here. Okay, cool. Let me put a plan together, present it to them. Or let me put a plan together. Yeah, put a plan together, present it to them and say, right, you need to grow here, here, and here. Okay, potentially you'll get more clients from here. It's like you're creating a funnel and then see how that goes before you do anything with
right.
them and see if that grows. In the meantime, I mean, I don't know how long that will take you to actually do,
Mhm.
but in the meantime, you could look at obviously what you're going to do now, which is the further outreach,
Yes.
because you've built up the other reason why I'm saying that is because you've built up a nice rapport with them. You've got a nice. It seems like everything's going good. Just
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. You just need to churn a little bit more. Wow, you
Mhm.
just need to, do you know what I mean? And turn that cog and get a little bit more dough from them.
More in.
Um, and because you've already got a good working relationship with them, they know you, you know them. It's like time to sit back and think, like what you did before. It's time to sit back and assess. Okay, cool. You're looking at your analytics for yourself.
Yeah.
You can look at the analytics for them and look at every single other client that you have. So even the 4 clients that you have at the moment, the
Mhm.
two bottom ones, the ones that are paying a little bit more, how could I make them more? Ask yourself this question: how could I
Right.
make them more money
Yep.
into their business? In turn, it would make me more money.
Money.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
So
100%.
maybe like before, maybe that's an angle to go through while you're doing the other forms of outreach and stuff like
Right.
that. So
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
might be an idea.
definitely take that into account. Like I think that's probably the smartest move, is to keep them outreach at the same time, and then if an opportunity comes up later on, just rather than shake hands now and then hope for a new client, just replace. But
Yeah,
once a new deal comes in,
yeah. And then even the fact that
even
you
not
still got,
replace. Maybe if I
yeah,
build them,
yeah. If you build them up, then why let
just
go
keep
of them?
them. Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
exactly. You know what I
One
mean? If
hundred
you take
percent.
it from 200 to 800 or 200 to 500 or whatever
Yeah,
a month, then that's increased your income. That's increased their income first, and then it's increased your income in turn. Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
So why would you not, like, you just use that same funnel? Fine, that's them done. Then
Yeah,
now I can concentrate on the other guys
yeah,
and
true.
getting a few more in while earning a little bit more money.
You got right at you
No,
got
I
it.
mean, so you know what I mean? It's a little bit you can do a little bit of that. And I only say that because you've built a very good you've had them for a period of time. So
Correct.
do you
The
know what I mean?
report is there, the trust is there. Yeah, like that. I'm super hesitant to drop them just because of that, because
Yeah.
building that kind of relationship with a brand new client is gonna take time and
It's
not
gonna
even
take time.
certain to be built.
They're
So
gonna have to trust you. You're gonna have to trust them. These people you already trust. I mean, that's like the same thing that I do with some of the clients that I have. I have a very good relationship with them. So
mhm,
I might go and travel for 2, 3 months, and then I'll just ring them up when I get into their country, Dubai or back in Romania. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, yeah. Do you want to train? Yeah, yeah, cool. Let's go straight.
mhm.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
because you've built that. They know you. You know them. There's that
exactly.
trust. element. There's
Right.
that they know what you're going to give to them. Do you know what I
100.
mean? So, do you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
100% of you. So, last question before I let you go. What is a day? What does a day in a life look like for you as a real world student?
All right. Good question. So I wake up around the same time. Usually it's like around 5 to 6 a.m. That's around
Yeah.
the time I aim for. Wake up, try to start working as fast as I possibly can, just get that morning stuff done, the basics
Hmm.
that we men do in the morning that we have to get done with. Start working like a 2 hour, 2 to 3 blocks of work there. Then you have the typical training session through midday just as a mental reset. You come back home, another 2 to 3 blocks of work,
Yeah.
have dinner, and then that's a post dinner is what I usually have more as a flex time, which is
Mm.
just me juggling either more work or spending time with family, depending on
Yeah.
what's on the table. Just being able to shift things. I think being flexible is also good in this regards. If
Yeah.
something comes up, I can always shift things. And that's been like on a routine basis. I also follow Luke's advice there. Try to keep things in a routine. It works. Work,
100%.
train, work, family,
Yeah.
repeat.
Yeah. Because then you set yourself a good schedule. You actually know it's like you're planning every single day. Every single day's planned, so you know exactly what you've got to do, exactly what you've got to attack.
Right.
With that, you can just say, okay, cool. If you have a bit of make yourself a bit of spare time.
Yep.
Just to set yourself. I would say just set yourself those two clients. Concentrate on those two clients that you've
Mhm.
had for a long time.
Yep.
Even in fact, concentrate on all four of those clients. Do
Yep.
you know what I mean? It's okay, cool. Look at their business model. Look at what you're doing at the moment. Is this enough? No. Can we do more? Yeah, we can always do more.
Always.
Do you know what I mean? So we can, yeah, you can just throw that into your, throw that into your.
I note it down as a
No,
as
no,
a
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Listen, right. I am gonna let you go. It's been absolutely awesome talking to you. I've chewed your ear off for like 45 minutes, but it's been awesome talking to you. I wish you all the best. Let me know how things go with the
Definitely.
regards to the four clients.
I'm gonna
Um,
apply your advice and let you know how these things go.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. So awesome talking to you. Thank you very much for coming on. What time is it there? Same
It is
time?
actually you're 1 hour ahead. So it's
Okay,
5:46 p.m. now. So it's a good
okay.
time.
So we're at it. Yeah. So you got
Yeah.
plenty of time.
There
You
you
got
go.
week.
Yeah,
Okay.
there
Thank
you
you
go.
very much again. I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
coming.
Nigel. Thank you for your
Good to
time.
talk. No problem. Pleasure.
Likewise. Likewise.